So this is the thing. Remember Tevin Jenkins, the guy we were bidding on and trying to go after? Well, according to Paul Delhern, he was never really a realistic option for the Bengals. Yeah. This is going to get great. Tevin Jenkins is the name out there the recent days, but he was never a real... Start again. But he was never a realistic option for the Bengals. There's a reason the former Bears guard wasn't scooped up early in free agency, and reportedly is taking a visit to Seattle on Monday in a league where players rarely take visits anymore. That's honestly really true. Really, it's just like, hey, guy's available, somebody go get him. Somebody go get him. He's available, somebody go get him. It's usually never like, oh, this guy's going to visit this place, because at the end of the day, it's a fast-paced league now. It's a very fast-paced league. Guys available. I need that position. I need a player now. Go get that guy. New Bears coach Ben Johnson seemed to speak loudly with the investment and resources given to immediately replace Jenkins and other interior offensive linemen in Chicago. And the rest of the league seemed to agree the Bengals are among them. They aren't pursuing him. That is so frustrating. That is so frustrating. I know he had back problems, and that's something that is definitely an issue. He isn't always 100%. He does have some injury concerns. But at the end of the day, it's like, we need somebody, you know? And if they're not going to go out to Brennan Sheriff, which right now is speculated they're not going to, they're also not going to go after Will Hernandez. Right now, it's speculated they're not going to. They didn't go after Kevin Zeitler, when Kevin Zeitler was open to potentially coming back to the Bengals. Based on sources, Kevin Zeitler would have came back to us. Like, there's actually a good chance he would have signed with us. He didn't have a problem with it. It's just we never called him. We never even approached Kevin Zeitler based on report. So I don't know what we're going to do then. Because we need a guard. Like, we need at least one guard. Okay, maybe not two, but at least one. Because what we can do is we could put Teddy K at left guard, Matt Lee at center, with Scott Peters at, offensive line coach. I have a lot of faith in that. And then we could just put at right guard, again, someone we sign here. Whether it's Will Hernandez or Brian Sheriff or whoever, Dalton Risner, whoever, right? We could just put them at right guard, and that's what we could do moving forward. But because we have to do something, we can't go into next season with Cody Ford or Tevin Jenkins. Not Tevin Jenkins, sorry. Cody Ford or Quidal Volson as our two guard positions. Now, we could draft a guard. It's very possible, but we only have 6 draft picks. We only have so much room to work with. So we're kind of between a rock and a hard place. And we don't need to be. We're putting ourselves in a very negative situation when we don't need to. At the end of the day, Jamar Chase's contract won't hit until next season, okay? T's will hit this season, but it's only a $6 million cap hit increase over what he's making already. So it's not that big of a deal. We don't also know what the contracts look like, 1-for-1 ratio yet. We'll find that out probably in the next couple of days. We don't know if Joe Burrow restructured any deal as well. That's also a possibility. And yes, they're going to most likely figure something out with Trey, whether it's a 1-year extension, whether it's a, increase in his pay, whatever they end up doing. But we need to do something, man. We need to do something. Like, we have the money right now, and we have the cap space right now to go get a couple guards. Even if it's only 1-year contracts, I'm okay with that. Because, again, we're going all in this year. But the reason why it's okay to go with the guards, with 1-year contracts is because, yeah, you can develop the guys behind them. Who knows? Frank Pollock was absolutely atrocious as offensive line coach. Scott Peters, I think, is going to be a lot better. And if he can develop Quidal Volson and Cody Ford to be startable assets, that's great. But we don't want just a plan A. We want a plan A and a plan B. A lot of times in the Bengals history, they have only looked at plan A. They have never looked at plan B. That might be more issues than that, but that's beside the point. My point is, jokes aside, like, we need to look at plan B as well. And we need to have more than one option going into the season, just in case, you know, to make sure we have options. Like, we can't go into the season and be like, oh, well, you know what? Hopefully this works. We did that last year with Trent Brown. We went into the season and said, Trent Brown's our only option. And then, guess what? He got hurt. Then we said, oh, Mims is our only option. Mims goes down with injury. You can't do that. You have to have multiple options. You have to be able to, you know, kind of adjust and move and have guys in the back end to be able to work out with you. Like, this is not the situation you want to be in. If you want to go win a Super Bowl, you need to have options. That's just the God's honest truth. And the sad part is right now we're not in a situation where we're giving ourselves options. This is why in the AFC Championship game versus the Chiefs, we lost because on the last drive when we go downfield to score a touchdown to win the AFC Championship game, or even just run off more clock, kick a field goal, Hakeem was our right tackle. Why was Hakeem our right tackle? Because we didn't have any good depth on the offensive line. So Joe Burrow gets sacked on a third down and short because of that, and now we're in the spot we're in where we didn't go back to the Super Bowl. Maybe we could have won it that year. It's stupid stuff like that. Don't put yourself in a negative spot when you don't have to. That's the biggest thing here. Teams that win the Super Bowl have depth. They have a guy that can come up and be the starter if they need to. They have faith in their backups. Right now in the offensive line, we have no offensive line backups. Like Jackson Kirkland. Yeah, he could become something good. He could. But I'd rather him sit back for a year, kind of develop under Scott Peters and see how good he can be. Matt Lee, I'd love to see how good he could be as well. You know, being a backup center under Scott Peters, an actual offensive line coach, and then maybe become the starter. Right? We have like those guys, but we need actual startable assets as backups in case something happens. So, oh man. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be frustrating. Because right now, if, you know, Cordell Volson goes down with injury, right? If Cody Ford goes down with injury, which are starting guards, your only backup right now is Jackson Kirkland on the roster. If Mims goes down, your only backup is Devin Cochran, Deontay Smith. These are your backups. That would be starters if injuries happened. That's scary.